This might finally be the end of that useless daughter-in-law. I came home early and overheard my mother-in-law speaking in an oddly cheerful tone. Right after, I heard my husband laughing, his laugh dripping with disgust. I tiptoed into the dark hallway near the kitchen, where they were talking, holding my breath so they wouldn't hear me. "Tonight's the night, Mom, tomorrow is her big day," my husband said. "I wonder how Mr. Abusher will react to all this." "I can't wait," my mother-in-law replied, grinding something and adding it to the pot on the stove. Then she smiled, her expression twisted and mean. I gasped. What, did she really just do that? I was shocked, but I didn't let it rattle me for long. If they were setting a trap, I'd make sure it backfired. They seem to forget one key thing: I'm very good at dealing with situations like this. It's what I do best. Let me introduce myself. My name is Pamela. I've been married for 3 years, and I'm a housewife now, but my life hasn't exactly been ordinary. Before I got married, I was a stage actress. Acting was my passion, and I was good at it. Being on stage made me feel alive. It was the kind of work that was rewarding and exciting every single day. I even had fans, and one of them was Luke, my now husband. Luke would come to every performance and watch me with starry-eyed admiration. He knew a member of my theater company, and through them, we got to know each other. Before long, we started dating and eventually got married. At first, Luke was wonderful, kind, loving, and totally devoted. His love for me was so overwhelming that it caught me off guard sometimes. "I did this because I love you, Pam, please understand," he would say whenever I felt uneasy. I'd give in because, well, I loved him too. I thought our marriage was going to be perfect, but life after the wedding wasn't what I imagined. The biggest problem was my mother-in-law. She didn't approve of my career as an actress. "If you're going to be a proper wife, you need to quit that frivolous job and focus on your home. Your most important job is to have children," she'd say. Under her pressure, Luke started siding with her. He hid my scripts, locked me out of the house if I came home late from practice, and constantly got in the way of my work. I begged him to let me keep acting, but he wouldn't listen. Eventually, I had to quit my job for the sake of my theater group, who didn't deserve to get dragged into my personal struggles. I decided to focus on being a housewife for now. I thought that if I had a child, it might stop my mother-in-law from constantly criticizing me. Then, once the baby was a little older, I could return to the work I loved. I wanted to have a child with Luke, too. But once I became a housewife, my mother-in-law's criticism only got worse. We lived just a 20-minute drive from my in-laws' house, and my mother-in-law, who had lost her husband a few years ago, visited us every day. Every time she came, she would eat leftovers without asking and complain that my cooking was too salty or over-seasoned. She'd open cabinets without permission, rummage through our things, and then criticize what she found. Back when I was a stage actress, going to work gave me joy and purpose. Now, as a housewife, I couldn't even find peace in my own home. My mother-in-law would interfere with everything I did, from morning to night, always finding something to complain about. The stress kept piling up. To make things worse, Luke, who was once so kind, started treating me coldly. "You're useless as a wife, just stay quiet, stay inside, and do the housework properly," he'd say, echoing his mother's insults. It hurt even more when my mother-in-law discovered that I had earned a good income before our marriage. She started demanding money from me regularly. "You've got money saved up, right? You don't even have time to spend it. Money's only valuable when you use it," she'd say, as if I owed her something. When I refused, she'd yell at me until the situation spiraled out of control. I felt pressured and had no choice but to give her money from my savings. It was infuriating to watch her spend my hard-earned money so carelessly. After just a year of marriage, my savings were. The money I gave my mother-in-law had added up to a huge amount. Around the same time, I discovered something even worse. Luke was having an affair with one of his coworkers. I found messages on his phone where they mocked me. One message said, "Pamela is so dumb. She'd never figure out what's going on between us." Luke had been sending texts like that to his lover, and it crushed me. That's when I seriously started thinking about divorce. Luckily, we didn't have any children, so it seemed like a good time to end things. But I hesitated because something exciting had come up. I'd been offered a small role in a play at my old theater company. I hadn't told Luke or my mother-in-law about it. Even after getting married, I kept in touch with my theater friends. They were my escape. the only thing keeping me sane. One of them, who had been listening to my struggles, asked if I wanted to perform in the show without telling anyone. The idea thrilled me. I missed being on stage so much that I didn't care if it was just a minor role. I said yes immediately. But if I filed for divorce now, it would create chaos and might interfere with rehearsals. This would be my first time performing in years, and I was determined to make it a success. I decided to wait until after the show to deal with the divorce. The performance was just a few days away. One day, everything seemed fine until my mother-in-law stormed into the kitchen, her eyes blazing with anger. "Pamela, what is this? Where did you get it?" "I found it in your bag." She held up flyers and scripts for the play I was secretly rehearsing for. "These are for a play, aren't they? You went through my bag? You can't do that," I said, stunned. "Don't change the subject. You said you quit acting. Explain this," she snapped. It was true, I had lied about working a part-time job so I could attend rehearsals, but that didn't give her the right to go through my things. As she began her usual rant, I couldn't hold back anymore. "So what? What's wrong with acting?" "Yes, I lied. I've been going to rehearsals," I yelled. "What, you admit it? You're just some amateur actress. You're pathetic, clinging to the stage like this," she spat back. Her words hit me like a punch, and I felt my anger boiling over. I may have lied, but what's wrong with doing what I love? Acting is my passion, it's what I've done all my life, it's even how I met your son, and yet, you forced me to give it up, bullied me every day, and took away the one thing that makes me happy. I've been handling all the housework while practicing for months, and neither you nor Luke even noticed. The show is the day after tomorrow, and no matter what you say, I'm going on stage. I said it all in one breath, trembling with anger. My mother-in-law stood there, speechless, her mouth hanging open. For me, acting is everything, and do you know what else? Stress is terrible for your health. Maybe the reason I can't have kids is because of the constant stress of dealing with you. Her face twisted in frustration, but she left without another word. The next day, I felt lighter, like a huge weight had been lifted off my chest. Rehearsal went better than ever, I was energized and ready for the show. That evening, I came home early, the day before the performance. As I stepped into the house, I heard Luke and my mother-in-law talking in the kitchen. They were so caught up in their conversation, they didn't notice me. "This will be the end of Pamela's acting career," my mother-in-law said, smirking. I froze. "And my career? What does that mean?" I thought, my heart racing. I crept closer and peeked into the kitchen. My mother-in-law was grinding nuts in a blender and adding them to the soup. I froze in horror. I'm severely allergic to nuts. Even a small amount causes my throat to swell, making it impossible to speak. I had told Luke about this when we were dating. Could they be trying to sabotage me so I wouldn't perform tomorrow? I quickly pulled out the voice recorder I carried for rehearsals and hit record. "It's finally going to happen tonight. This will teach her a lesson," my mother-in-law said with satisfaction. "She got so full of herself, talking back like that," Luke replied coldly. "If she'd just listened to you, Mom, none of this would have happened," he added. "She's hopeless, a terrible wife. She doesn't learn until we put her in her place," my mother-in-law said, laughing. I felt my chest tighten. Luke, the man I had trusted, was siding with his mother to harm me. Unable to bear it, I left the house, tears stinging my eyes. I didn't know where to go, but somehow, I found myself at the rehearsal hall. A few troupe members were practicing on their own. "Pamela, what are you doing here? Didn't you say you'd go home early today?" one of them asked. "Oh, yeah. I don't know," I mumbled. "Are you okay? You look upset. What's wrong?" Something inside me broke, and I told them everything, about the soup, the nuts, the cruel conversation I overheard. They listened quietly, their faces filled with shock and concern. "Pam, I have an idea. What do you think about turning the tables on them?" one of the troupe members asked. "What do you mean?" I replied, confused but intrigued. The troupe members explained their plan. As I listened, I felt a surge of determination. I decided to follow their suggestion. I was going to show Luke and my mother-in-law that I wasn't going to take their cruelty anymore. I came home later than usual and announced loudly, "I'm home." Immediately, my mother-in-law came up to me with a sweet, almost fake tone. "Pamela, I'm so sorry for yesterday. I didn't realize I was too harsh. Please forgive me. I thought you might be tired from your practice, so I made you dinner. Look, it's your favorite. Eat up and get ready for tomorrow's performance. There it was, the soup I had seen earlier. I was sure it had nuts crushed into it. I sat down at the table without saying anything. Thank you for the meal, I said calmly. It looks delicious. You're welcome. Mom really put a lot of care into it, Luke added, smiling in a way that made my skin crawl. Their smiles were so fake, it was almost unbearable, but I didn't let it show. I pretended to eat the soup, mimicking swallowing it without actually doing so. Then, I dropped my spoon, grabbed my throat, and fell out of my chair, pretending to struggle for air. I acted like I was in horrible pain, just as if I had eaten the nuts. Luke panicked, rushing over to me with a glass of water. Pamela, are you okay? Here, drink some water, please. Can you drink it? His voice was full of worry. My mother-in-law looked horrified, hovering over me. Oh my God, I didn't mean for this to happen. I just wanted to teach you a lesson. I just put a little bit of nuts in the soup, just a tiny bit. Luke shouted, Mom, stop talking, call an ambulance. No ambulance. What will the neighbors think if we get in trouble with the police? It was just a prank. What should we do now? I could hear everything they said, and then, I slowly stopped thrashing on the floor and stood up. I fixed my hair, looked at Luke, who was still in a panic, and calmly said, Pamela, are you okay? He asked, still uncertain. I'm fine, I replied, smiling. It was just an act, you know. What? You mean, you're not? I'm an actress, Luke. Acting is what I do. My mother-in-law's face turned bright red with embarrassment. Pamela, how dare you do this? Do you think it's okay to make fun of us like this? My mother-in-law yelled. It's you and your son who've been making fun of me, I shot back. You put nuts in my food to stop me from going on stage tomorrow. That's... Don't try to act innocent, I continued. I have proof. I pulled out a voice recorder from my bag. The screen showed it had been recording the whole time. And I have witnesses. Then, the members of my theater troupe stepped out from behind the door. They had followed me, just in case I needed support. Luke and my mother-in-law were frozen in place, shocked to see them. This is serious, my mother-in-law stammered. It was just a prank. Really, we're family, so forgive us, please. Family? I laughed. I've been acting my whole life, and you think I'd fall for this poor act? I know exactly how you feel about me. Do you seriously think I'll forgive you now? Keep dreaming. I held up the divorce papers. No way, Luke and my mother-in-law muttered, panic on their faces. I played back the recording and said, do you want to go to the police or sign the divorce papers? After that, Luke and I got divorced without any trouble. Since he'd also been having an affair, I asked for alimony. Luke had a hard time paying, and his lover eventually left him. Rumors about how he treated me spread at his workplace, and he was forced to resign. My ex-mother-in-law didn't stop interfering with my return to the stage. A troupe member caught her trying to sneak up on me at the back door and reported her to the police. Despite several warnings, she kept doing it, so a restraining order was put in place against her. Now, Luke is unemployed, and his mother's arrest made them the talk of the neighborhood. They live a miserable life, trying to stay out of the spotlight. As for me, I'm back on stage, doing what I love. I'm enjoying every moment, and I feel more free than ever. I'm not saying I'll never marry again, but for now, my true love is my work. Thanks for watching until the end. If you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to our channel. See you in the next video.